to the more exciting part of the meeting. We have 2 awards to be presented, and the first presentation will be made by Michael Hill.
Greetings, friends. For several years, Danny Romine Powell took care of this presentation, and I want to acknowledge her work in that regard. Is Danny here? Danny's husband, Lou Powell, contributes to a blog called North Caroliniana, which I commend to you. He posts a wide assortment of notices on that blog. And last week he took notice of the fact that NPR recently conducted a survey of librarians, authors, and thought leaders to determine the 50 books that best define a state. The person making the choice in North Carolina was our poet laureate, Jackie Shelton Green. Ms. Green's choice was the book that we're here to honor tonight, this afternoon. 20 years ago, H.G. Jones and I met at Nantucket, out on Highway 54 at the interstate. We were there to create the North Caroliniana Book Award. Our objective since that time has been to select annually the previous year's best book about North Carolina, the one most likely to stand the test of time and to become a classic work of North Caroliniana. This year's is the 19th such presentation, and the award goes to, I'm not calling it up yet, Bland Simpson for his UNC Press title, North Carolina, Land of Water, Land of Sky. A book that, as I say, comes highly recommended and I commend to all of you. Bland is, by his own memorable description, statriotic. The Tar Heel State has no better ambassador than Bland. Raised in Elizabeth City and Chapel Hill, he has left footprints in practically all corners of the state in his 7+ decades. His years as an instructor at UNC, his alma mater, culminated with his appointment as Keenan Distinguished Professor of English and Creative Writing, a post he still holds. His years with the Red Clay Ramblers took him from the ranch house, where I first saw him, to Broadway with the name and legacy of North Carolina's own Charlie Bull and his Ramblers in tow. Many will recall Bland's appearances on public television, recounting, in one case, his search for a lost boat, and in another, his search for the headwaters of the Catawba River. Bland's many books include Into the Sound Country, a Carolinian's coastal plain, issued by UNC Press in 1997. The present book, 25 years later, is essentially a sequel, extending his range to encompass the entire state. Like the earlier book, this is a collaboration with his wife, Anne, who contributed photographs, as did his friends, Tom Earnhardt and Scott Taylor. It is no knock on Bland's narrative, taking the reader along by hand, and with his, by water and by land, with his welcoming storytelling, to say that these stellar images really make the book. My thanks to Jeff Crow and Georgianne Eubanks for their assistance in selecting this year's winner. Kudos to UNC Press for their excellent design and production values. So now, Bland, come up, and we'll make the presentation. for the sake of a better photograph. There we go. Thank you very much. Okay. Glenn, microphone's yours.
Thank you, Mike and Jeff, Georgianne, very much. I'd like to invite my collaborators, and Carrie Simpson and Tom Earnhardt, to come up here, please, and stand with me while I read one paragraph from this text. I can tell you emphatically this was a collaboration from the start, and that a writer acquires an almost unimaginable confidence to be able to go to work every day on a text like this and know that any image or any piece of landscape could be illustrated if necessary by one of the three photographers, Ann and Tom and Scott Taylor, who joined us on this. That is a liberation, and I just knew we were going to have a beautiful artifact by the time we got done. And the UNC Press went all out. They called in the great internationally renowned designer Rich Hindle out of retirement to design the book, something they surprised us with. We didn't know until we saw the page proofs. And so this is a very collaborative experience, this book. And I was inspired to write it in large part after a very moving afternoon conversation with President Bill Friday at his home about North Carolina and its future. And he was very animated about his vision, which was, how can we take care of the 12 million people who are going to be here in 2030 if we're not even taking care of the 9 million who are here now? I wanted a document to say, let's love this state and let's love our people, and the ones that are here and the ones that are coming. Bill Friday was very animated about that. If this is a tale of stories, sights, and glimpses drawn from a relentless traveling presence over many a year, pray let it be. For a lifetime of music, teaching, theater, literature, and conservation has carried Ann and me, and Scott and Tom too, all across our great state. Let it be a world of powerful passing looks at handmade Canada Goose whirligigs at Powell's Point in Currituck, at a biplane crop duster in a hangar just waiting to fire up its Pratt & Whitney engine and take to the air down in Scotland County below Laurinburg, at cloud-enshrouded Chimney Rock, almost invisibly towering over Lake Lure in Rutherford County out west, and at the fall and flow of water everywhere, from sea level to sky high, from pickles to peaches, and cabbage to cornbread. Here's to the land, North Carolina. Thank you, folks, very much.